Welcome back. On today's video, we are going to be looking at how you create your own reality with the power of your thoughts and the power of your emotions or feelings. And we're going to be diving into some Gregg Braden, one of my favorites from the Divine Matrix, and really looking at the ways that you can create a new reality and sharing some really cool examples from my own life of doing the same. So let's dive straight in. I have a quote from Gregg Braden that I absolutely love, and I want to start off with because you know my passion about programming and the ways that we are programmed to believe in limitations. And I believe this has been a part of society for so long because those who have been in control in regards to education system, religion, governments, all these different areas that are sort of the authority and the higher ups, they didn't want us to know our ultimate truth. They didn't want us to realize our power as co-creators, because then we would be free, we wouldn't be stuck in their systems, we wouldn't be continuing to follow what they have created and laid out for us, which is truly a system of enslavement in terms of, you know, our education system kills all creativity and imagination and teaches us how to be really good employees and sit at a desk all day and work for someone else and do as we're told and don't question the authority, right? And then you go to university or college, do the same thing, get a job later, work for someone else, do the same thing, and be terrified of following your own path or doing something different, breaking out of that box. And I know for myself, when I think back to where I was years ago, when I finished high school, I felt so much pressure from the programming I'd had before that, especially in my elementary and junior high years. I was actually just talking to a friend about this the other day because she grew up and still lives in Europe. I obviously grew up in Canada. Maybe not obvious, but I don't know why I said that. So I grew up in Canada, and it was really interesting because I shared some of the things that my teacher said when I was going to school, and she was like, "What? That's crazy." And I just figured this was kind of normal pressure from teachers, but it was drilled in our heads, and I'm a very literal person, so I take things in even more so than maybe the average person does. But it was super, super intensely drilled that if you didn't go to college or university, you were an absolute failure. And I remember teachers of mine who absolutely mocked the kids who were not very smart, put them on display and called them out for being stupid, constantly used them. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Okay, constantly used them as examples of what not to do or examples of what a dropout would look like calling them out and saying like, this person's definitely not going to succeed. There's no way they're going to get to university. They're barely going to get past high school. Things like this, when instead of nurturing them or understanding or trying to find a teaching strategy to get through to them or find something they were good at, they just belittled them. And so I was like a grade A student. I did really well in school, except for like math and stuff, but it was so deeply ingrained. I felt so much fear about, if I don't get a degree, I'm going to be a failure. I'm gonna have nowhere I belong in this world. I'm gonna be an absolute loser, stupid, all the things, right? My parents were both university dropouts who played on a basketball scholarship. Ironically, I followed that path. So did my brother. We both were on volleyball scholarships, but both dropped out. So same, but different. And we would joke about how uneducated we were because we didn't have a degree, and it was very much a part of this society. We knew that if you didn't, you were kind of a failure. And so I just felt such intense pressure that I had to do this. even though the years that I was trying to figure out my path and studying different things, I felt so lost and overwhelmed and anxious. And this is part of the fascination that led me to understanding and uncovering the subconscious and the ways I had been programmed, which is finally bringing me around to the point from this Gregg Braden quote, okay? Because I'm going to read it off. So he said, what if we're living our lives within false limits? Because that's what we've always believed to be true. And I'm going to read that again because it's important and I totally butchered half the words. What if we're living our lives within false limits? Because that's what we've always believed to be true. Now, for example, the education that I just talked about was a limit in terms of believing that if I didn't have a degree, I would be a nobody, I would be on the street, I would have absolutely no way to support or provide for myself, I would be stupid and looked down upon. Like, that was an immense program that I had been taught, that had been planted in up here, right? That then played out as I got older. And it's false. There's absolutely, like, it's not 100% true all the time. And that is how we see most of our beliefs. So we live in a world that has a lot of duality, and it also has a lot of nuances and room for things to shift or grow or be different, and for us to uniquely follow and carve our own path our way. Especially now with technology, with the digital world, right? There's so many options, but even generations before that, there were trades workers, there were, becoming your own boss, starting a business, entrepreneurship, different avenues that were always possible. And yet, for this example, it had been really deeply ingrained in me that this is the one and only way to be successful. So as I started breaking down that belief system and really looking at, wait a minute, there's so much opportunity out there in other ways that feel way better to me. This is all false. The limitations I have been believing in, right? The life I've been living has been within false limits because it's what I believe to be true and what was taught to me. And when we take that into account to now get into the creation and reality creation, I really want you to understand that this is why, especially in a quantum universe where there is limitless potential, everything you can dream up can exist. In fact, it already does exist in a parallel reality or alternate dimension. It exists in future timelines, in all the things, right? So if you can dream it, it's possible, it's available. And what blocks us from then creating that is the limiting belief, the fear, the doubt, the insecurity, the unworthiness, the program. Okay? So as long as we are still living and subscribing to a limited false program, then we have no hope at creating that. And I want to run that home really strongly because there were so many things that I did in my life that I had been told was not possible, that I couldn't do it, I wouldn't do it, it wouldn't be available, that it would be really hard or have to come with sacrifice. And when I look at the things that I've achieved or created, the reasons that they happened was because I was open to seeing things differently, and I was open to believing beyond that false narrative that other people had. I could have very easily continued to stay in a 9-to-5 job that I didn't like because that was what I should do, or that was the only thing that would bring safety or security. I could have continued to stay in university, get a degree just for the sake of having that paper, and actually end up with no job, because we see a lot of that with people having immense qualifications and, doctorates and all this study, and they're jobless, they're unemployed. So there is actually no one reality, and there's no one ultimate truth. Your truth is what you make it and what you create. So when you start to do the deconditioning, which is why I talk so much about reprogramming, because when you reprogram out an old belief, when you reprogram out this is the only way, or it has to happen that way, or I'm not worthy of it another way, or whatever it is, whatever the limitation is, that's false. So as long as you're giving power to it, and if you're plugged in and thinking this is the only thing, and this is the ultimate truth, then that is what you will continue to create. But when you can unplug from that and start to even just open up and go, wait a minute, what if it were possible? And that's like my favorite game to play when it comes to creating new realities and new outcomes for myself, is like, what if it were possible? So even though this has been my truth, or even though this is what everyone's told me I can and can't do, or can and can't achieve, what if it were possible for me to do this thing? Everyone's telling me I can't work with elephants, I'm not qualified, there's no way a job's gonna open up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I don't agree. What if it's possible? What if I'm more than qualified? I have all this experience, I've studied animal welfare and worked with tons of different rescue animals. Like, I know what I'm doing, I'm a fast learner, I'm fascinated about animals in general. Like, there's plenty of opportunity, and I'm a lot more qualified than the average person, so to say. What if this reality were possible? And it's simply in that openness that then I could start to consciously create that reality and consciously tap deeper into the feelings, the emotions, the thoughts. So if the thoughts are limited, your feelings are immediately gonna follow suit, right? If the thoughts are limited, and I think I can only have success or be somebody or blah, 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 be smart if I get a degree, that immediately creates the feelings, which in my case created feelings of inadequacy, fear, all the things, doubt, shame, whatever. Negative, very negative. If I stay in that track, my thoughts and my feelings are going to create a corresponding reality from that place, which is therefore going to be a really limited reality. Now, if I can shift the thoughts through the reprogramming, through just questioning and being open to an alternative source, alternative belief, if I do that, then I start to go, okay, what are the positive thoughts? That I can succeed at starting my own business. I can help people and create content and coach people and do these things. I can drop out and work with elephants, and I am qualified enough. I have things to offer. I have value. I am smart. That's a very different set of vibration, set of emotions that I'm creating, right? And the vibration of it, the frequency of it is very different. One of them keeps me limited, stuck, small, and feeling really disempowered. The other leaves me feeling really positive, really empowered, really hopeful, and inspired and motivated to take action. And even just that alone, even if we don't get into the really deep quantum energetics around that, you can see that one of those, the negative one, guaranteed not going to have success in a different path, because I'm not even taking the chance. I'm not even allowing myself to go there. I'm just staying stuck where I am. The positive option number 2, is going to allow me to start to create it, even if it takes time. But there's an immediate openness to the desired reality, because the thoughts, the beliefs, the emotions, the feelings are all in alignment to the desire. Right? So this is why the most important thing you can do, and the most important starting point, is looking at the false narrative that you are currently tapped into. For me, inside my Thrive program with my clients, we start with awareness for this very reason, and we work on releasing the old programming in the first month of the course. Because if you are giving into the fears, the doubts, the anxieties, you're going to stay plugged in to that reality. You're going to continue to feel really small. But if you start to shift those and you start to become aware of, this is just a program and I want to pick a new one. This is just a belief that was created because my 6th grade teacher made fun of the not so smart kid and made me think that that's who I was going to become if I didn't go to university, right? This is just a story that my parents created because they didn't feel educated, and so they put pressure on me that this is the path I have to take. Whatever it is in your instance, it's all just story, and it's all just a false narrative that you get to now consciously decide if you want to continue to create with it. And I can guarantee, and science has proven, that when we look at the vibration for creating things, when you are in a high vibrational state, when you are connected to your heart space, and you're really in the energy of feeling the wish fulfilled, feeling the desired reality, feeling the co-creative power you have to build something beautiful, that is magnetic. That is so incredibly powerful. And that is the vibration of source flowing through you to create with you. So just getting yourself into that state of being is going to allow you to then start to act as if, to feel more empowered, to feel more aligned, excited, and motivated, and take the steps each day to do it. But it has to start first with the awareness of where your limitations are showing up. And I cannot stress that enough, that the most important foundational starting point is to become aware of the stories you're telling yourself and the thoughts that you're having. Really beginning to notice, ooh, that thought didn't make me feel good. And is it an ultimate truth? Where did it come from? Why am I believing it so strongly? Is it possible that something else is actually true or available, right? Is there proof that someone else is doing it another way? And so what I think is truth and fact is actually being dispelled by someone over there. For my instance, it's like even starting the coaching business. Even though I don't have the experience, or it's new, or I don't have a business degree, all the limiting stories that could tell me that I can't do it, but I look over here and I see other people having success doing that and following that path. They are proof that my limited reality, my limited belief system isn't the truth in the universe, the only truth in the universe. There's infinite truths. So you get to decide which truth you're plugging into and what you want to create from that space. So I highly, highly recommend really starting to be conscious about the thoughts and the feelings that you're having each day and where you're plugging them into, what you're focusing them on. Because what you focus on grows. And the more you connect to the desire and the more you stay in that positive place and bring yourself back to being open to possibilities, then the more luck, the more magic, the more synchronicity you're going to see, where the universe and God is working with you to co-create and align things and merge you with what you want. But it all starts from within, okay? I have an amazing mindset masterclass all about this, where I share my 3 steps for reprogramming and taking your power back so that you can be the conscious creator, so that you can play bigger and create the life that you want. That is linked down below if you want to check it out. And otherwise, start doing the things that I've shared in here already. Start applying them and really creating new awareness around what you're focusing on. And are you living in someone else's limitation, or are you living in the realm of infinite possibilities? Are you playing in the quantum realm where magic exists and miracles are normal and there's a million different ways that things can align to work out for your highest good? Or are you living in the matrix, the media, the news, the fear, the suppression and really limiting narratives that our authorities and also very often our parents believed in and programmed into us. This is the work, and it's the greatest work you can do, because there is so much freedom when you no longer plug into that place, okay? So that's what I recommend. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending so much love to you as you go step into your truth even more, and I will see you on the next video.